Fantasy Football Factory Thanksgiving edition. We got the King of the South, Mintzy. We got Moody in the Six. I am Stephen Cheah. We're brought to you by the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Shout out to them, the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Super easy to do. If you are not familiar with it, it's very easy to pick two or more players to have more or less of a certain stat. Do you think that Christian Watson is going to have more or less than 43.5 receiving yards? Do you think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to have more or less than 79.5 receiving yards? Things like that. Combine more players for an even bigger payout. And new DraftKings customers, there's an awesome offer. Play $5 in pick sets and get $50 in pick 6 credits. Just get in on the action. Sign up using promo code FACTORY when you download the Pick 6 app. Shout out to Pick 6. So we just talked about this off air. We're going to divvy week 13 slate up into 2 episodes. So this is the Thanksgiving episode. We're not going to do the Friday Chicago-Philadelphia game. It's going to be just the 3 Thanksgiving games, which are all awesome. All the totals are very high. We have Packers versus Cowboys. Packers versus Lions in the early window. Lions 2.5-point favorites, 48.5 is the total. That's the lowest total of the day. We've got Chiefs going to Dallas. Chiefs favored by 3, 52.5 is the total. And then at night, it looks like, we're taping this Tuesday morning, hasn't officially been announced, but it looks like, especially based on the total, that Joe Burrow is going to be back for the Bengals. 52.5 is that total. The Ravens favored by 7. This is an awesome holiday slate. Mintzy, what game stands out to you?
Man, all 3 are interesting. The Burrow coming back just breathes life into the Bengals-Ravens game. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
Both the first 2, though, are just massive. I mean, Green Bay-Detroit, huge game at the top of the story.
Playoff implications.
Yeah, big. And especially Chicago being 8-3. Detroit really isn't a must-win because they lost at Green Bay in that first one, beginning of the year. I think that's an awesome matchup. And then the Chiefs-Cowboys should be wild. You know, Dallas off that 21-0. They came back from a 21-0 deficit to beat the Eagles 24-21. They're 5-5-1 now. They're kind of, made some moves on defense, playing better. And the Chiefs, came back, beat the Colts in overtime at 6-5. Both those teams need that. I mean, you got to think in Jerry world, those games tend to be a lot of yardage passing. That one's going to get pretty buck wild. So, I think all 3 from a fantasy perspective. Do you remember the Ravens-Bengals games last year?
Yeah.
Both of them were insane, where the Bengals blew double-digit leads in both late, but they were all shootouts. So I think there's fantasy value all over the place. And DraftKings, $5, $2.5 million on Thanksgiving with $1 million guaranteed. Gotta put something in that.
Yeah, Moody, let me ask you, you're wearing your Cowboys gear today. Who is the best offense playing Thursday afternoon? Is it the Cowboys or the Chiefs?
The best offense, I think you have to go with the Cowboys. I really do. I think the entire, the continuity that they've showed the entire season, they've been very, very consistent. Even though the Chiefs have had certain moments that they've looked good, they haven't appeared as the Chiefs, back at the beginning of Mahomes' career. So I'd say the Cowboys is probably the best offense on Thursday. This is the first day all year I haven't felt shame wearing Cowboys gear, so I busted it out. But I'll say this, the coolest thing about Thursday is essentially every single team is playing a must-win game. Yeah. They all need wins. It's really cool. Obviously, you have a huge game with divisional implications in the Lions and Packers, Cowboys and Chiefs. Either one of them take a loss, they're probably out of the playoffs. Baltimore needs a win. I'm not saying the Cowboys have a chance, but they lose this one, they're definitely out. The only team that doesn't really have much to play for is the Bengals, but I feel like they'll bring a good effort because Burrow's coming back. So it's a great slate. It's the best Thanksgiving slate that I can remember in a long time, boys.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I think easily because the Green Bay Detroit started.
Yeah, and all of them, even the Bengals at Ravens, that line is 7. The other 2 are 3 points and 2.5 points, like with the totals pretty high. So this is like fantasy and DFS like Christmas, as far as like you couldn't really draw up a better slate for teams that like all need it. They should all be awesome games, so we are very much looking forward to watching it. Let's go through the Thursday slate as far as prices, and let's talk about who we kind of like in those matchups. So again, we're going to focus on those 3 games. Let's talk about the quarterback. So top of the market, Lamar Jackson, $6,800. And this is, of course, we're playing the DraftKings Classic Fantasy game, $50,000 in salary cap. So Lamar Jackson, $6,800, top of the market. Patrick Mahomes, $6,500. Dak Prescott, $6,300. Joe Burrow, $6,000. Jared Goff, $5,800. Jordan Love, $5,500. And then, I'll just mention Joe Flacco at $5,000. It doesn't look like he is going to play. But who do you guys like in that position group? Moody, I'll start with you.
The interesting thing about such a small slate is that you kind of have to go contrarian a little bit. You don't want to have the guy in every spot. I thought about going Jordan Love because I feel like he'll be the least played quarterback, but I just can't do it. The one thing that concerns me about Lamar is he's out today with knee soreness, or yesterday in practice. He's going to play, but that just makes me think maybe he's not going to run quite as much. So I think I have to go with Patrick Mahomes here. I know the Cowboys defense played a little bit better last week. I get that. But I could see Mahomes running in this game, and I could easily see the Chiefs still slicing up the Cowboys defense. Like, they played better, but they looked horrible in the first half. So I think I have to go Mahomes. I thought about Burrow. I really, really did. But I think in the end, I'm going Mahomes.
Mintzy, what do you think?
Well, look, the Burrow thing, I can't imagine T. Higgins plays after that concussion. It's a short week.
That's a bad one.
So he's out. I mean, Jamar Chase cooks the Ravens. I mean, like, his stats against the Ravens are insane. I don't see how you can't put him in your lineup. But I'm rolling with Patrick Mahomes, too. I thought about Burrow, but Mahomes, also a Tyler, Texas guy, coming kind of back home, close to Dallas. He's Thanksgiving on the turf. It just comes back to the Dallas pass defense. They allow over 250 yards passing a game. And I think Rashee Rice could cook them as well. But I kind of feel like, I think this is a spot where you're going to see the Chiefs pushing the ball down the field a little more.
Yep.
And I like Mahomes, even though, like you said, you could make a case for all of them in this spot.
Yeah, I think Mahomes is maybe probably the smartest play at $6,500. But yeah, I think Burrow has legitimate appeal at $6,000. You worry just because he hasn't played, but he usually does do really well against the Ravens. And I'm kind of with Moody. I do think that Jordan Love is going to be the least played quarterback. Detroit indoors, that pass defense has not been very good. We just saw Jameis Winston have a monster fantasy game against them. Played a good real life game as well. But Jordan Love is explosive. I think if you're looking contrarian and he's going to be the cheapest of the group, I think that he's absolutely worth a flyer. All right, let's get into the running backs. So again, we're going one quarterback, two running backs, three receivers, a tight end, a flex, and a defense. You have $50,000 in funny money to use. All right, we got Jahmyr Gibbs kicking it off, $8,800 after his giant overtime run. Huge drop to Derrick Henry, $7,300. Josh Jacobs, questionable right now, $6,800. Chase Brown has seen a bit of a resurgence the past couple weeks, $6,500. Javonte Williams, $6,300. Emmanuel Wilson, $5,800. Kareem Hunt, who always seems to find the end zone, $6,300. David Montgomery, $4,800. Keaton Mitchell, $4,500. Braden Smith, you can get down to at $4,200, or Justice Hill at $4,000. Mintzy, who are you going with in the running back market?
I want to pay a quick respect to the Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy game on Sunday before I make my picks. 15 carries, 219, 2 touchdowns, and then if you're in PPR, he caught 11 balls for only 45 yards, but that's 11 points and a touchdown. In a full-point PPR, he had 55 points.
Incredible.
I thought Jonathan Taylor's Atlanta game couldn't be top. 55, and he carried me to my win, and I'm looking at a buy in my big league. So thank you, Jahmyr Gibbs. Having said that, it's always weird to take someone off like their big game like that because everybody's doing it. I'm always kind of like trying to fake contrarian. And I keep going back to this well, and it's burning me, but I'm going Derrick Henry against Cincy because they're just so bad up front. I also, Lamar, the knee thing, I think Henry's going to get a ton of carries. And then I'm between Javonte Williams and Kareem Hunt, but I'm going Kareem Hunt because it's $5,300. It's cheap. I think he's going to score.
Moody, what do you think on the running back side?
I'm a little bit worried about Jahmyr Gibbs against Green Bay just because their defense is so good. A lot of people are going to play Jahmyr Gibbs off of last week's game, so I'm staying off Gibbs. I'm also on Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry is kind of the must play this week because of how bad Cincinnati's run defense has been this entire season. So I'm on him. And then I'm going with the other running back in that game, Chase Brown, Baltimore hasn't been great against the run this season either. They've been a little better as of late. But one thing about Chase Brown, whenever Burrow plays, he tends to play pretty well. Burrow will check it down to him whenever things are not there. And no T. Higgins in this game makes me think Chase Brown has to be a big part of the offense. So I'm going Derrick Henry, Chase Brown.
I do like the Chase Brown call. He does play a lot better. One name I want to ask about that hasn't been talked about. He came off a pretty much a dud game on Sunday. David Montgomery. Is he a completely forgotten guy in the Lions' backfield, or is this a bounce back spot for him on Thanksgiving at home?
It feels like, he still gets some series, but Gibbs has just gotten so good running between the tackles now.
They legitimately alternate series, so it's not like he's not playing, but he's certainly not as effective. Jahmyr Gibbs is arguably the best running back in the league. Is this a spot where, especially coming off of Gibbs' biggest game, he's at $4,800. He's, compared to the rest of the group, underpriced. Is this a spot where you guys think about taking David Montgomery, or is he just completely off for you guys?
For me, it's just the Packers. There's two units I hate going against in the NFL. It's that Packers defense and the Chiefs defense. They're two that I really don't like to target. They're both playing on Thursday. So I personally stay away from players against Green Bay. It's the reason I stayed away from Golf, too, because I think Golf, has played very well on Thanksgiving in the past. I just can't do it because I think so highly of Green Bay's defense, personally.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Of the running back, I think you guys kind of nailed it with Derrick Henry. Keaton Mitchell getting a little bit more run as of late, but still, Derrick Henry's getting the 20-something carries against the Cincy defense. I do like the Chase Brown call. I'm interested to see what happens with the Packers backfield if Josh Jacobs is out. He did give it a go pregame to try and test it out. There was no structural damage. It was more of a is he able to fully bend the knee and be comfortable and explode off of it? Emmanuel Wilson got in the end zone with him not playing last week. That's one I would kind of look at last minute to see what the injury news is. But I think Chase Brown is the sharpest play of that. And I'm not ruling out David Montgomery just yet.
Prop-wise, I'm going to look at Chase Brown receiving. I'm curious what it'll be, but with Burrow coming back, he catches a lot of balls.
Yeah. All right.
Speaking of props, Brashard Smith, somebody to take a look at. If the Chiefs get into a shootout here, he looked pretty good. He caught, 4 balls, I think, on Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, he's catching balls. So, clearly you're just looking at his catches props. So, reception props, I think that's something to pay attention to on Sunday.
I like that.
Thursday.
All right, let's talk about receivers. Jamar Chase, top of the market, $8,000. Amon-Ra St. Brown at home against the Packers, $7,800. Rashee Rice, $7,500. George Pickens, $7,000. Ahead of CeeDee Lamb, $6,900. Zay Flowers, $6,100. Jameson Williams, $4,800. Christian Watson, $4,700. Romeo Doubs, $4,600. Xavier Worthy, $4,500. Andre Yosivas, $4,300. Hollywood Brown, $4,000. You can get DeAndre Hopkins for $3,300. Ryan Flournoy for $3,200. Tyquan Thornton, $3,000. Any guys stand out to you? Moody.
I'm going to fade Rashee Rice in this spot because I think the whole world's going to have him, and I'm going to go Xavier Worthy as my play for the Kansas City Chiefs. Dallas gets beat downfield. I think Thornton could have some potential run in this game, but I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy because he's cheaper. You're getting him at $4,500, and I'm going to need to save some money if I'm throwing Jamar Chase in there. So I'm going Jamar Chase, Xavier Worthy, and Yosivas. So I'm going to double down on these Cincinnati wide receivers. Yosivas with no T. Higgins put up a pretty good game last week, 10.6 points. You give me that and you get in the end zone, I'd be pretty thrilled. So I'm liking him at $4,300. So I'm going cheaper on 2 spots, and then I'm grabbing the best player on the board, Jamar Chase.
Mintzy, what do you like?
I'm doing Jamar. I'm kind of similar strategy. I'm going Jamar Chase because you just look up his stats against the Ravens. He's had 3 200-yard games. He just cooks them. So I'm going Jamar Chase. But then what's interesting is there's great value on this receiver board.
Yeah.
And look, I'm going back to the well. He had a bagel last week, but the receivers, when they get bagels, I like to hop on them the next week. And so I'm going J-Mo at $4,800. That's just so cheap off that bagel. I'm also looking at Christian Watson. You saw Jameis just threw for 366, and Wan'Dale Robinson cooked Detroit. I'm looking at Watson, and then I'm also may even put Tyquan Thornton at 3,000 in my flex because, I think he could catch a long one or two. They're going to take some shots in this game.
Yeah. Every time that we have a Cowboys game that is on or in a standalone spot, and I'm going to bet Cowboys, I always want to bet CeeDee Lamb, and I always regret it. And it's George Pickens every time. I'm going to go with George Pickens in this one. $7,000. He's $100 more expensive with the DraftKings money than CeeDee Lamb. It's just he is like a cheat code in the fact that we saw the talent there in Pittsburgh and his go get it ability, but it seems like he's the Madden guy where you just have a guy, you throw it up to him, and he is going to make the play. Thanksgiving Day, the biggest stage for the Cowboys generally of the year, unless they're going to the playoffs. This is his spot. I like George Pickens to have a monster game. All right, let's talk about tight ends. Jake Ferguson, top of the market, 5,100. Travis Kelce, 5,000. Mark Andrews, huge drops, 3,600. Mike Gesicki, who's back in the fold, 3,100. Noah Fant, 3,000. Brock Wright, 2,800. Luke Musgrave, 2,700. Isaiah Likely, 26. Who do you like from this group? Mintzy.
I'm going Travis Kelce, 5,000. I got a little more money left because I went Kareem Hunt and went and took some shots on J-Mo and Watson. And I think Kelsey's getting in the end zone on Thanksgiving. And, Mahomes is going to have a good game.
Yeah. Moody, who do you like from the tight end market?
I'm taking Mark Andrews at 3,600 against Cincinnati. I feel like it's a really good spot to save some money, so I can throw Zay Flowers in my flex. Mark Andrews had some big games against Cincinnati in the past. And if Burrow comes out, plays well, turns into a shootout, I feel like those guys are going to have to catch the football. I got Mark Andrews at 3,600, who's had a pretty good season. He's had some pop-off games. He's had some duds. I'm hoping this week he pops off.
He's been scoring a lot of touchdowns when Lamar's played.
Yep.
Yeah. I think a guy, if you're looking to save a little bit of money, that could help you is Mike Gesicki. 6 targets last week, 4 catches, 36 yards. And obviously they're going to get the whole Bengals offense is going to get a big boost with Joe Burrow coming back. The general number 2 guy, T. Higgins, going to be out. Yoshi's certainly a solid option to move into receiver, but Gesicki can get some burn at what is he costing, like $2,600. I think that absolutely could see, or sorry, $3,100 absolutely could be a decent value for you at tight end where you can look to spend money elsewhere. All right, let's finally talk about defenses. We got the Lions, $3,200. Ravens, $3,000. Chiefs, $2,800. Packers, $2,600. Dallas hosting Kansas City, $2,400. And the Bengals, the cheapest option on the board, at $2,200. Moody, who do you like here?
I'm just going with Green Bay. I understand that the Lions are at home and they light it up a lot. Totally get that. Gibbs coming off the best game of the season by any player. I love Green Bay. I think they make things tough on Jared Goff in this game. And they can get a turnover in this spot. That's my biggest thing. I'm looking for a team that can force a turnover. I like Green Bay at 2,600.
I'm going Ravens. Burrow being back is huge, but he still may be rusty. He's been out for a while. And I think the Ravens defense was getting bagged on early in the year, but they've been playing really, really well lately. So I'm going with them at 3,000.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for a team to possibly create a turnover, Dallas has, in their history, especially with Dak, been a little bit of a turnover factory. Obviously, things have been cleaned up this year, but this is a game where I could see being pretty high scoring and then a defense making a play. So give me Dak to kind of shrink in a big moment. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs defense at $2,800. That's going to be it for our Thanksgiving episodes. We're taping these all on the same day. It's Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. We're going to put this out as its own episode just because we didn't feel like it made sense to do this and Sunday's slate in the same episode, just because then it would essentially be kind of some dead pod after the first 20 or so minutes. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Thanksgiving Thursday is, in my opinion, the best day to play DFS fantasy, just because, they're 3 games, and they're all, this year pretty good. So hopefully we see you all in the winner's circle on Thursday night. Maybe get a little money for Black Friday, Barstool store. Or
20% off Friday through Monday.
Yep. So check that out. But thank you guys for watching, for listening, and we will see you momentarily, hopefully, if you're going to listen to the Sunday pod. See you guys.